Hello, my honors super chemists. This is the second part of the first day's lecture. So in the first video, I went over the beginning of the notes. We talked about quantitative and qualitative data. We talked about scientific notation. We talked about base units and prefixes. And we did a couple of simple dimensional analysis conversions. Okay? So what I want to do with you today is I'm picking up on these notes, which are in Schoology. Okay? And I want to look at number 4 on this page, and then we're going to do a couple on the next one to make sure we all have it. Okay? So if you look at number 4, 65.5 inches to centimeters. Okay, I take what's given, and I put it over 1. And you can always do that. You can always get a little bit of credit for showing me that you can take what's given and put it over 1. So never turn in a paper that's blank. Blank is bad. Don't ever do that to me. Okay, now, because I'm a super chemist and I see that I'm in inches and I'm going to centimeters, I notice that I'm doing English to metric. So immediately there's a little neon light in my head that's saying, happy cloud, happy cloud, happy cloud, happy cloud. And so I draw my happy cloud and I write 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters, okay? And that's how I'm going to get from metric to English units. So I put a little exy poo-poo here. I know I don't want to be in inches, so where does that go? On the bottom. And I want centimeters, and I can do that because of the happy cloud, so I'm going to go right 2 centimeters. And I use my numbers. 2.54 centimeters is equal to 1 inch. And the beauty of dimensional analysis is that the inches cancel out. I can plug and chug that in my calculator, and I get my super chemist answer. Look, I'm going to cheat. Here we go. Super chemist answer of 166 centimeters. Shazammy poo-poo. That is chemistry. Okay? Now, here is the problem or the dilemma. Our little dimensional analysis problems are going to get a lot bigger than that. And we did some that were a lot bigger in class, so that's not going to bother us. So I want you to go to the next page in your notes. Okay? And we're going to do a few that are a little longer. Okay? Now, number 5, you should all know that a centimeter cubed is equal to a milliliter. We talked about that in class. So if you have 9,852 centimeters cubed, you have the same number of milliliters because they are the same thing. In science, we use milliliters. In the land of health and medicine, they use centimeters cubed. Okay? But it's the same thing. Moving on. I am skedaddling to number 7. And in number 7, I have 150 miles. And I'm going to kilometers. Okay? Now, one of the things you will need to know is that there are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. I will give that to you on a test or quiz, okay? I'm more concerned that you memorize the happy cloud than this. Now, we'll do enough of these that you probably will get this stuck in your brain, but I'll give this to you. This I will never give to you. Ever, ever, ever. You have to know the happy cloud. Alrighty, poo. So I have this many miles. I'm going to put it over 1. I'm going to draw my xy poo-poo and draw a line, and I'm going from miles to kilometers. So right away, there is a little light going off in my brain that says, happy cloud, happy cloud, happy cloud, happy cloud, because I'm dealing with English to metric conversions. So somehow, I'm going to have this conversion in my problem. So, miles, the only thing I can go from miles to is feet. So I'm going to do that, miles to feet. So I'm going to get rid of my miles, and I'm going to go to feet. And because Mrs. Folks is such a nice person, I gave you the conversion, okay? So 5,280 feet in 1 mile. Miles are good to go. Now I'm in feet. I don't want to be in feet. So feet has to go on the, I'm going to make this a little smaller. There we go. Feet has to go on the bottom. Well, shucky darn and slop the chickens. Where am I supposed to go? Oh, the happy cloud. In the happy cloud, I have inches. So if I can get to inches, I can get to the happy cloud. And I know because I'm a super chemist that 1 foot, there are 12 inches. So So now I'm in inches. Don't want to be in inches, so I put that on the bottom of the next step. And I can finally use my happy cloud. So I can go inches to centimeters because I know 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. And I'm going to tilt this just this way a little so you can see the whole thing. Okay? Now, I'm in centimeters. Don't want to be there. Where do they go on the next step? On the bottom. Can I go directly to kilometers, which is what I want? Heck no. Oh my goodness, I'm so confused. Where do I go? Wait a minute. I know how to cheat. Cover up the first letter, and whatever's left is where I'm going. So I'm going to meters. What's bigger, a meter or a centimeter? A meter is bigger, so it gets 1. Centi is like century, so it always gets 100 because there are 100 years in a century. Exy poo poo, I told you these things were going to get long. Don't want to be in meters. How do I get rid of it? Put it on the bottom, okay? And I can finally go to kilometers, which is what I want, all right? Who's bigger, a kilometer or a meter? A kilometer is bigger, so it gets a 1. Meter gets 1,000. There are 1,000 meters in a kilometer, and that's a very messy 1,000 I wrote right there. Now, if I were you, okay, I would multiply everything across the top and get a number, multiply everything across the bottom and get a number, top divided by bottom. And when you do that, you should get something around this number, 241. Now, the reason I'm telling you to do top divided by bottom, I know it's a little crazy poo-poo and laborious, but your calculators are really awful at order of operations. And if things aren't put in exactly the way they're supposed to, your calculator has kind of a mini stroke and it gives you the wrong answer. But if you multiply everything across the top and get a number, multiply everything across the bottom and get a number, top divided by bottom, you will never get that answer wrong. And it is a real kick to the crotch when you have done all of this work, all of it. So you've done the hard part and you get the answer wrong because it was in the calculator wrong. Okay, so just trust me on this. Have a little trust fall, okay? Trust Mrs. Folks and do it that way. Now I'm going to do one more example with you, and then we're going to call it a day, okay? I'm going to look at number, let's see, which one do we want to look at? We can look at number 10. 360 miles per hour, that's the speed I drive when I come to work. Just kidding. And I'm going to yards per second. The key with velocity is to always, instead of putting something over 1, put that time component down in the denominator or in the bottom. If you don't put the time component in the bottom, you're going to have some issues, okay? So when you do a velocity or a speed problem, you're really doing 2 conversions. I'm going to convert miles, and I'm going to draw myself a little arrow here. Let's use an orange color. Here we go. Miles is going to go to yards. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. And hours is going to go to seconds. I always start with the distance component. I suppose it doesn't matter either way. It's just that's how I roll. Okay, so I want to get rid of miles. Miles is going in the bottom. Now, from earlier, I'm going to turn my screen again. Here we go. All right. From earlier, I told you that there were 5,280 feet in a mile. So that's kind of how we always start with miles. So we'll go miles to feet. Okay. Shazammy poo-poo. Miles are gone. All right. I don't want to be in feet. So if I'm in a unit that I don't want, that unit always goes on the bottom of the next step. I want to be in yards. And you should be able to go feet to yards because at this point you should know there are 3 feet in 1 yard. Okay? There we go. So I'm in yards. I can check that off. Now, I want to go hours to seconds. Okay? Here's the little thingy poo-poo with that. If hours is down here and I want to get rid of it over here, it's got to go in the opposite direction. So since it's on the bottom here, it's going on the top here. And I generally go hours to minutes because that's easy for me. 1 hour has 60 minutes. So hours will cancel out. Well, shucky darn and slap the chickens. I don't want to be in minutes. I want to be in seconds. Okay? So minutes is on the bottom here. I'm going to put it on the top here and go to seconds because I know 1 minute has 60 seconds. So what happens is I'm left with yards per second, which is what you were asked to find. Plug and chug in my calculator. Multiply everything across the top. Multiply everything across the bottom. Top divided by bottom. And your answer should be around 176. Okay? I hope this makes your life easier with dimensional analysis. Don't worry, we will get through this. I will make sure you are a super duper dimensional analysis chemist. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in class very, very soon. Take care, guys. Toodles poodles.